Okay. Hey, welcome, Brody. I'm calling this meeting to order. Do I have a, sorry, my brain isn't functioning tonight. Do I have a motion to establish the agenda as published?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor of establishing the agenda as published, please say aye. Aye. Sorry, students, board members.
Aye.
That's 2050. Everybody, before we start tonight's meeting, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge a sad piece of news that we all received this week about the passing of a middle school student, Kyra Gupta, due to cancer. And I'd like to just take a moment of silence in her memory, if you don't mind. Just thank you. We will now move on to our regular agenda for tonight. The first item we have is the year-end financial.
Great. I'm going to bring up Directors Adams and Garcia Bobber. Matt is doing some important dad duties tonight. His son was a captain of the football team over at Vashon, and tonight is the end of the year banquet. He's receiving some awards for his season, and last year, this exact presentation, or a board member or a board meeting fell on the same night that he missed, but it's his senior year, so he wanted to be there with his son. So with that, we are in great hands with two other experts from our finance and business team. And so this is an annual report. The last couple of years, we've tried to get it to you in October, but there were lots of different changes and expectations and some things from OSBI that then went through the ESD. So with that, the report is in the board packet tonight. We're going to go through and just highlight some of the key pieces, and then certainly we'll take questions along the way. Unlike the budget, this isn't an action item, but it is an important update for all of you on the year-end financials from last school year. So I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and start. If you want to look at your packet, of course, the first item is the letter we always provide to the board. It's a standard that we provide. Then we'll go on to the table of contents. It gives a list of everything in the packet where you can find the information. And then turn your page. We give a description of each type of funds, so people will be able to understand what can be paid out of the individual funds that we operate in 5 different types of funds. And if you have any questions on that, you can always ask, but it's pretty self-explanatory there. The next item, the main item that we're looking for, is our total expenditures. This is a summary by fund of the total expenditures for the 24-25 in comparison to the actuals that were in 23-24. So if you look at the general fund, you can see that it went up by 3.8%. We spent close to what we had budgeted, about $430,000 less. Capital, we were below budget too by about $200,000. It was a negative about 1.3%. The explanations of why the increases or decreases are listed below for you. If you have additional questions, please ask. Debt service is on an amortization schedule, and that was up by 16%, but that set schedule is set. We just pay what we're told to pay. ASB, the expenditures went up by 3.8%. And then transportation, we did not buy any buses, so that's why it is down so low. So if you have any questions on the increases or decreases, if we didn't give you enough information below, please ask if you'd like. Okay. Then if you turn the page, we start into the actual, we provide a chart because some people are very visual and they like the chart. So we do a pie chart and we give percentages by the whole group of money by each fund and how much each fund is actually expenditures were. They're very close to last year. You look at it, general is 78% of our whole budget. Debt service, we spent 10%, ASB 1, capital 11, and transportation was so minute, it's a 0% because it went too far out. Okay, then over to the other side is a summary of our revenues and what we received from the different sources. So we'll start with the general fund, that you can see it went up by 4.1%. And that was because also we got that one-time MSOC increase of $195,000. That's why it's listed there. It was a one-time increase from the state to help districts out for the additional cost on the MSOC side last year. I'm not anticipating that this year. We have no idea if they'll do anything like that. But we didn't budget for anything like that happening this year, just so you know. Capital, you'll see that it's 13.2% up. Part of that is what I forgot to list on his E-rate. We actually received $277,000 in E-rate, which is from the technology department applying through the federal government. It's for like telecommunication and internet services that we did upgrades for, and we can actually apply for some funding, which was a great job by Andres to get the money. So very, very thankful on that.
One thing on capital on that too, I think you're gonna touch on it a little bit later on with respect to the Merriway pool. I know you mentioned it here. The county's reimbursing us in 2 separate installments. So we got a partial here, but I think you'll touch on it later.
Yeah.
We're still waiting on some. Was there a partial there?
Yeah,
or-
we received $300,000 back from the county, and we're expecting 1.6 million by the end of November, beginning of December. That we've already spent that money, and they're reimbursing us for the big pool project that we had going on in the partnership with them. They've been invoiced and everything, we're just waiting for the payment. Debt service, as I said, that's on an amortization schedule, and that revenue is all generated from the bonds. Associated student body, yes, that went up. They did the higher increase in sports fees were part of that. Also, some of the trips that they did that the students went on, that they collected fees from the parents. They went to New York last year, correct? Yes, I remember that.
The Macy's was 2 years ago,
No,
so
what was-
this probably was partial collections in preparation for London. Did
London
we
and,
start taking?
didn't they go to Carnegie Hall?
That was
Orchestra.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Orchestra went to Carnegie Hall, which was expensive, but they had a wonderful time, which is all. And then we have the transportation fund, that is all on the state depreciation schedule. That is something that is done by the state. And then again, to make it easy for the visual people, we put it in a pie chart for you. This will also be posted on our website when we're done, and we are also revising our business website to be more transparent as possible. We're adding different graphs, different descriptions, trying to make it so anybody that could get onto the site could understand school district financing a little bit better. And that was with the help of Ian, and hopefully it'll be ready in about a week or so, just to let you guys know that that's happening too. And now Jackie's turn.
Looking at the fund balances for all of the funds, you'll see we have ending and positive balances for the funds. The general fund is mainly our reserves, our restricted funds, our contingencies and unassigned reserves. Capital projects is for those capital project reserves, as well as the debt services to pay for the bond, its principal and interest payments. And ASB for the extracurricular activities, and transportation for the purchase and repair of buses. So general fund went up from 23-24, 13.1%. Capital went down almost 60%, and that was due to the completion of major projects such as the Mary Lake Pool and some painting that was done. Debt service has gone down, and that's due to the amortization schedule of most payments. ASB, as mentioned, has gone up due to the fees that were in revenue that they collected. And transportation increased because we did not purchase the buses as we had expected last year. On page 8, looking at the breakdown of the general fund. General fund, of course, is for the day-to-day operations of the district. It accounts for the salary and benefits, the utilities, the insurance costs, supplies, materials, and other operating costs. A majority of our revenue does come from the state at 69.1%, and 28.9% comes from our local taxes, EP&O levy, tuition and student fees. The state apportionment is based on the allocation rate per student FTE that we receive, based also on the formulas determined by the legislators. So 24-25, the per student FTE allocation was 11,294, an increase from the 23-24 rate of 10,770. The state general and special purpose revenue accounts for our basic education, special education, lab, CTE, and bilingual and highly capable funding. We have a small percentage of our revenue comes from the federal government, which supports the special ed program title. We have some CTE money for grants, as well as the bilingual and Title I literature programs. And a very small percentage comes from sale of possible surplus if that occurs, as well as facility use fees. Breakdown of the expenditures, this chart shows by object code, the certificated salaries, object 2, classified, object 3, salaries, benefits, supplies, purchase services, and so forth. So there's showing an increase of 4.3% on the certificated salaries, 8.9 for classified, and benefits of 8.3. Benefits are largely increased due to the cost of the SEP benefits going up, as well as increase in retirement rates. In order to get to an increase in our fund balance, we did some reductions in both supplies and materials, some purchase services, as well as decreased travel and where we could. Capital outlay, that increase of 100% has to do mostly with we purchased a student van as well as a scoreboard for the pie chart shows a breakdown by object code for the expenditures of the general fund in 24-25. As you'll see, a majority of that, 84.7%, is district salary and benefits.
Okay. We also try to provide you historical data so you can see, like the revenues and how they've increased over the years. So we go back 5 years usually on these. So you'll start with 2019-20 and then we'll end in 24-25. So when you compare the actuals to the budget, as you can see on the revenues, we were very close on our projections for the revenues. We missed right on that. And then on expenditures, we were about 430 off, but that's good. That helped us with our fund balance. And we are seeing, of course, a trend up. Things are costing more and more every year. We feel at home too. On the fund balance, yes, it is nice to see it in an upward trend. I wish it was a little bit steeper, but any growth in our fund balance to me is a benefit right now, mostly when you look at the surrounding districts and what we're going through right now. And we did a good job getting 361,000 more in our fund balance. I don't want to do it at the detriment to students. That is our biggest goal, is not to impact students as we try to rebuild our fund balance. And as you can see, we did go up, which was great. Like I said, it was about 330,000. So any questions on the charts? I like to provide these. We update them.
Yeah, I was gonna say my questions, but since you asked, on this chart, it looks like it's about 500,000 increase in the general fund balance over 3 years. I was wondering if you could tell me what that percentage is, and then how that compares to our 3-year projections, because I believe, or I seem to recall, that we were targeting our 8% goal on a much quicker timeline than it looks like we're currently trending towards. We're treading water.
Correct. And really, if you look at 22-23, remember, it was a greater growth in the fact that we had to pay back that $2 million. And that was the big turning point in between 23 and 24, because it doesn't really show that loan being paid back when you track this. Because if you would have subtracted 2 million from 22, 23, we were really in a deficit with that. So we have had a growth, but I don't have the percentages on hand, and I can calculate those for you and get them to you if you would like. But I don't have them right
But
now.
we're still well below the 5%,
We are below.
not even like,
Yeah.
like with 80%, not
Yeah.
even
Yeah,
on the
we are
horizon.
below.
Okay, isn't that chart showing percentage, historical fund balance percent? It looks like.
It's, well, yeah, we went up by 0.3%. So you could see it was 0.37, 0.37, 0.4. So that is, it's not the growth we would like, but things happen. You know, I'm sorry, cost of everything, utilities have gone up astronomical. And even though we are doing great in energy conservation, we have to have utilities. Our insurance is going up every year, and the state is not keeping up with that. Those two lines in the last 5 years have gone up over 49% with only 8% of funding from the state. So certain things go up that we have to pay for. We ended up with an out-of-state placement that we did not know about until July, and special services did not know about it either. And that was one reason we didn't get as much growth. It cost us about $150,000 that we had to pay, and it wasn't in the budget. That's another one reason that it didn't grow as much this year. So,
But 86% of our budget is personnel.
Right.
CPA.
correct, correct. But if you'd like to see more, you know, percentages, we can try to get you guys more without a problem. And then we switched after the graph. Yo, this is yours there. Oh, no, we're to do this one.
So looking at the year-end fund balance allocation, we have the general fund to start off with, our carryover, our restricted, and our unassigned fund balance. And you'll see that our fund balance distribution, it will depend on where we're at in terms of repaid expenditures and balancing of those at the end of the year. Our capital projects, while it says our actuals 1.6 million, we're still expecting the revenue in from the King County pool to be paid for the rest of the King County, or the pool, sorry. And debt service, just based on the schedule, we're at 5.6 million, and ASB, we're at $405,000. Transportation fund has grown again, and that was because we did not purchase buses, but we're anticipating that this year.
And then the remaining is just some information on the assets and the liabilities. We do a $20,000 line in the budget every year for incidentals, I mean, for restricted for a certain purpose. If you look at it, the physical assets too, we list them out. This is reviewed by Washington Risk Management. We check this every year, we get a report from them. So we always list those out. They do the schedule themselves. They evaluate the value of our buildings, and that's one reason our rates change too, okay? And then the last is our enrollment sheet, which you will see, the final for 24-25. And also, I believe you have the F-196 attached to your reports too, that we got to the state. The difference on the F-196 is the compensated absences. GASB 101 changed the ways the districts have to report that. Instead of only reporting people over the age of 55 for benefits for vacation and sick leave, now they want the whole district staff. And we had to go back 4 years and get history and do percentages. And so now we have to show every leave that we have on the book as a liability.
For the last 4 years?
We had to go back 4 years, get an average to get percentages, then we had to put them in a chart. And then we had to go pull a report for last year, make adjustments, calculations, because some people get front loaded, other people don't by August 1st. And then we had to come up with the total. So it went up by about $10 million because the liability isn't a true liability on the district, but it was because of a GASB 101. So when you see this in your F-196 under the liabilities, you'll see a big jump in that area. And I wanted to let you know why. It was the state changing the way we had to do something.
Okay, what do you mean by, some people are front loaded?
Administrators' contracts start on July 1.
Yeah.
We get our full vacation and sick leave that date, but they want it as of August 31st.
Okay.
So we have to go into any administrator and back off 10 days.
Yeah.
For sick leave and so many vacation days, because if we were to leave, we wouldn't have accrued all of that.
Right.
So we had to do adjustments. It was not fun.
What a fun and not tedious task for you.
It wasn't fun. It took days, but every school district had to do it, so. Yeah, that's one reason it took a little longer to do the report, because we couldn't finish the F-196 until we had all that in and verified.
In contrast to the growth of 500,000 in general fund balance over 3 years, it looks like increases in our 536 transfers were approximately 1.5 million from this fiscal year that we closed out 24 to 25 to 23 to 24. Can you explain the increase in the transfers and how, whether that's personnel, technology, accounting, so I and others at home can understand why we were appropriately accounting last year as well as this year, like the significant increase?
Can I just add a clarifying question onto that? Where, can you tell me, is this part of our document that I can look at as well?
Well, I mean, it should be broken out, but in the F-196, there's a significant category, which is transfers from
Right.
Right, I was just wondering if you had a
technology
page somewhere that you could refer to.
Yeah, on the F-196, just search for F-536.
Well, okay, back in
Page 7 of it.
Thank you.
23, 24, we made the practice of keeping salaries intact in the general fund so that we be more transparent and actually show exactly how much we were spending on salaries for facilities staff that were doing cap tech work and technology. That was one thing. Then this year, we also, for bills that are being split between two funds, like we'd split a bill, pay 50% out of capital and 50% out of general. Now we're paying them out of general and just reimbursing it that way. That expenditure is intact and its true amount is being reflected on one report. So certain bills like Northwest Regional Data Center we usually split between general and capital. Now we code it to a special line that we do take that money and leave it in general and just reimburse half of it from capital. So that's one example. So that was part of the increase. Splitting bills is more difficult for our accounts payable and it takes more time, and the transfer process takes more than I just pull a report at the end of the month. It gives me a monthly total that I know was paid out of CapTech and I can transfer the full amount. So it's better in the accounting practices trying to keep everything as a true expenditure and true cost, to be transparent on how much an individual program or something is costing. When you divide it, it's hard to find that cost.
So these third-party expenditures more being recategorized as general fund expenditures rather than CapTech?
Instead of dividing the bill. That way, if we wanted to see how much we're truly paying Northwest Regional Data Center and our ESD, you can look in one area and find the full amount.
And is the way we've accounted for it changed? Because, I mean, we had the same policies in place as far as I can tell at the close of the last accounting year when it was, 3.7 million, and now it's 5.2. And so like 1.5 million is a lot. I mean, again, in contrast, we've grown the general fund 500,000 over 3 years. So I'm trying to understand 1.5 million of different expenditures, or like the way in which we're thinking about it or categorizing it has changed from this year compared to last year. I'm trying to understand
Plus,
what
some of
that
that is salary increases for our tech staff and for the facility and for the people that were doing the work for CapTech. So that is not just all those, but it's also salary increases too. So it was anything technology based that we decided to leave in the general fund was transferred in. So, and we can pull reports on that too. But to me, it's being more transparent on the true cost of an item if you can keep it all intact in one fund. It's more visual for people to see. That's why we want to do it that way.
It helps me. Christina?
Well, I kind of did send ahead of time a lot of questions to Matt at night, because it's easier for me to do that as I go, so
Mhm.
I can actually share some of the questions that I
Oh,
have.
I even have them too, so.
Yeah. The response were shared with you.
Great questions, by the way.
But, so I can, like, one of the questions that it was, I can go by like, should I just go by themes maybe?
Sure.
So it was the general fund and special allocation, an explanation of the portion of special allocation services supported through the safety net program, to understand what is that and how much safety net funding did that the district received in this past year, and how it compared to previous years, and how many out-of-state students we had this year compared to past periods. And I will let you answer as I go, because there were 22 questions, so I did send a lot of questions. And it's very nice, yes.
Do you want me to go ahead? Or
I think that you go
Oh,
ahead.
okay.
Yes, otherwise.
Well, first of all, the number of students fluctuates, okay? It all depends on the need of that student in the IEP. So, last year it was, I think he listed 24, but it was 25 students last year. The year before, we had 31 students qualify. So last year, it was only 25 students that qualified for safety net, and the year before, it was 31. So there would be a drastic drop in our safety net, because we also, this last year, 24, 25, we had less out-of-state placements. So that's one reason you'll see a decrease. It's hard to predict on, special ed would be the better one to ask on this. It all depends on that student's need, and if they have to exceed a certain amount before you can put them onto the safety net. It's back down to 35,000 this year. Last year, it was at 39 something, right? Yeah, over 39,000. So this year they dropped it back down to 35,000. So maybe more of our students will qualify. So our safety net might go up next year. And certain students might need safety net for 2 years because of their needs, and then they can grow and maybe not need as much support. So that's another reason why you'll see a fluctuation. It changes from year to year on that student's needs. Okay?
One other item on safety net, just to remind you on, is that this will be the last year where safety net is completely reimbursed in arrears, which we'll have to wait till August. Starting with the next fiscal year, we'll get quarterly deposits, and so that's going to really show up on our, well, the chart that we're going to show you next, which is our monthly financials, where it's going to have a different trajectory. But just as a reminder, this will be the last year where we have to wait till.
For school year 26, 27.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's when we'll see the change.
That's what I'm looking for too. That'll really help with cash flow too.
Yes, so the other one, I cannot really answer, that the report said that it's 8.3% increase in the benefits.
Mhm.
And I know it's related to SEV, knowing that you cannot opt out. Have you received, like, for this coming year, if there's an increase there or not yet?
For the current year, I haven't seen anything from the superintendent side in terms of outward years. The current year, they set that one, but I don't know about future years.
I know the current year went up by $129 per person per month for this year compared to last. $129 per person per month, which is $1,548 more a year per person.
Is that district cost or employee cost?
That is district cost. That's district cost, not what the employee pays.
And our
then even-
employees are facing a significant increase as well, right?
I don't know if they're, I don't think
Do we know
they're,
what it is?
It just depends on the plan they choose.
that hasn't, I don't think the plans have gone up yet, and that's kind of what we're worried about next year. With SEV, the bad thing about SEV is when someone waives it, we still pay that fee, even if you're over prototypical school. So it makes it very difficult.
So the other thing, you answered the question about the pool reimbursements being split, and the transportation, I know that we didn't spend anything, but it was mentioned that we might anticipate some purchase of some next year?
Some
buses or?
Additional buses as we're looking towards that.
We're looking at buying 2 to 3 small buses this year, and we have $600,000 in the budget for those right now. So, yeah, because I think one of our buses have depreciated out, so we want to go ahead and surplus that and bring in some more that will increase the revenue too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Well, in terms of insurance, and I think that is important because we had this question earlier this week, the risk pool insurance. I know it went up, and it's, can you tell me the kind of the percentage? I know the answer, but I want everybody to.
It went up 14% last year from the year before.
And the reasons why, I think it matters. I think it was a surprise for me.
Well, last year they said it was because of some of the natural disasters that happened too, like the fires in California and Washington. They add that into our risk pool too, because it's a big risk pool. So any claims that come against it, increased cost, increased property values. Yeah, it's just, and they set the rate, which is hard.
Question.
Yes.
And what's the dollar amount of insurance that we pay?
Right now for insurance, it's 1.2 million.
So a little about 1.5% essentially of our
Yeah.
budget.
Well, and I can tell you in the last 6 years, it's gone up 194%. I
But
did
about
check.
1.5% of our overall.
Yeah,
budget. Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
And one of the aspects of from that is also cybersecurity has
Oh, yeah.
also increased so much that, so that was, I
There's-
was not expecting that.
We've done some things to try to keep those,
Yeah.
actually, we were just talking about this about a month ago, around things that we can do to try to drive some costs down. There's even some things that we're hoping to demonstrate that we do, but I know that that's kind of your wheelhouse, Andrews.
Yeah, I mean, when we did our technology levy in 2022, there's a lot of additional services that weren't necessarily planned for that we have to consider based on today's security environment and threats. And so we review various services and try to look for ones that may be the most effective. So one example of that is multi-factor authentication for our staff, and ensuring that all staff have that second factor authentication around Google access as well as Skyward access. But then we also do enhanced malware protection on our devices, and we're actually looking at doing some firewall replacements this year. So cybersecurity, as you mentioned, is definitely one of those costs that has significantly increased just in the last 3 years.
And those are real costs, there's not insurance, we don't get any breaks on any of that, that's just real costs.
And how much do we get from the state? How much, is it, how much percentage of, do they have their risk insurance or anything related to insurance portion of it? Is it?
Well, I can tell you, our utilities and our state are in the same apportionment line. So it comes in one lump sum. We received, $1,587,000. In between utilities and insurance, we spent $2.495 million.
Okay.
So that's a big deficit right there.
And if it's okay with you, like later, just share the rest of the questions. I think that they were,
You bet.
what you said, if they're summarized with what. Yes.
So can I just add a follow-up to that? So just to understand, with regards to the utilities and insurance, does the state give us a line item for that or are we extrapolating that? So anything that we're in deficit, anything that we don't receive comes out of our per student apportionment, right?
Right. This is a separate line item on the apportionment. You can see it. It says utilities insurance. They do separate out into one line for us. So if you were to pull up the apportionment report, when you go back down into the MSOC side of it, there is a single line listed there for utilities and insurance. And that's where you can get the money they provide us for that.
And then one other question, just for advocacy purposes, I think, and I just want to make sure that I'm thinking of this in the right way. For students, we receive based on FTE, not on headcount. For staff, so our revenue is based on FTE. For staff, at least SEB, is headcount.
Correct.
Which obviously doesn't benefit our students.
Right.
And also it's if it's 0.6% or how much is that you have to pay the full benefit, even like, there's, a point FTE?
FT, you can be at
Point
0.4, isn't it?
0.4?
And you
It's a little
qualify,
over, it's a little over
0.4, and you qualify for full-time.
So it is even good.
Yeah.
More even.
Yeah, and subs, if they work in that, do qualify for it too.
Did you want to keep going?
No, I think, oh, we're gonna do the dashboard next, I believe.
Yeah. Did you have any other questions that related to the overall budget? Okay, fine. Yes.
I no, I knew that. Yeah, it's not half. Let me, that I don't have, but if I do have.
Okay, the financial dashboard is reflecting our September activity, which is 8.3% of our fiscal year. We do not have anything to compare it to, so come October, once the books are actually closed, that will be able to present a comparison of September and October. But you'll see that our expenditures are 8.6% of our budget right now, and our revenue is at 7.1%, which is close to the 5-year average of 7.2. We haven't received reimbursement on the federal grants yet. Yeah, applications are still in process, so we're hoping to have those completed and be able to start receiving reimbursements in the next couple of months. Let's see. Nothing of note to make regarding that. And our fund balance at the end of September was 1.9. And at the end of the previous year, it was 1.7. So we've had a positive increase of 275,000 from September of last year to September of this year. The enrollment is also noted on the dashboard here. So it shows our average FTE is at 3,810, and our average monthly 3903.63.
Is it, so our high water mark, if you will, last year was October. Obviously, that's when we get our largest tax bill or payment. But is it, just for those at home or whatnot, is it a true statement that we're essentially starting this year with our fund balance where we were at the high water mark last year? In other words, if this is fund balance when we started the school year, is that what?
We're
Yeah.
starting to, we're starting more up, but we did have some more expenditures, prepays that came, starting school is expensive, and there were some things that had to be purchased. But still, we are below last year's expenditures for the month of September by, 256,000. If you look, we have 276,000 more in our fund balance. It did dip into a little bit of the increase we have, but we'll get that back because we prepaid for a lot of things for September to start the school year. And if there's, what else did Matt want to say on this one? We did remove I think he had the loan on there, and you asked for it to be removed, so that was taken out of the report, so it's no longer being reflected there.
And then you said, we were expecting a higher ending fund balance, but that out of state payment.
Yeah,
And then,
we couldn't even claim it on safety net.
oh, I was gonna say, I assume that we'll see it next year.
No, because safety net closed at the end of June and we didn't get the bills until July, and it is on a school year, so it starts 9/1. So
But I think she's asking for the coming school year.
we won't be able to claim last year expenditure.
No, but for the.
Oh, this year, this coming year, yes, any expenditure we accrue from that student this year will be able to.
Oh, so that payment was for the past?
That payment was for 4 months that he was in a facility we didn't know about until after the parents sent a bill. So, and so it was too late for us to apply it to our current safety net. They had a deadline and we didn't get the bill in time, so we did not get any funding on that one.
And we can't then do it at.
There's no retroactive of the bill.
No,
Wow.
I know. I know.
Just get screwed every which way, right?
They have a deadline and they, you know.
And yeah,
I'm not-
when they don't wanna follow their deadlines, we
Yeah.
just have to wait, right?
Yeah, just like the grants haven't been approved yet, so we can't even get 2 months worth of expenditures paid back to us yet. So,
Well,
Anything else?
Can I, and I'm sorry, I just thought about this question. It's related to the previous presentation. Only in transportation, I noticed that on the funds, one of the questions is how much was the ridership of students and just tell me what is the ridership of? Because it is like the FTE that we get,
we get paid by per student that rides. I
Yeah.
don't know the increase from last year to this year. I could talk to William and
He's
find
right
out.
over your
Oh,
left shoulder.
there you are, William. I didn't know he was there, I just slide in.
Okay, so, we count 3 times a year, and it's a sort of rolling count, so what we get paid this year is gonna, should I be speaking?
Yeah, go for it.
We get paid- Remind me not to show up at this meeting. What we get paid this year that we're in will be dependent on what we already did in the spring last year, the fall count that we submitted is being approved right now, so it was just submitted at the end of October, and then the winter count, which we're actually conducting currently. And so based on that is what we'll get paid. It's a black box of, we're dividing funding amongst the state, and we're looking at how we do compared to other districts. So I can retroactively say, like, if we had an increase in ridership of this sort, what it would have done last year, but it doesn't really tell us what we're gonna get this year. And so on the one count that we have submitted, it's of this year, it's a positive improvement. So we did 2 positive things. One of them is we counted gifted students that we're transporting for the first time, and gifted students come in at the special services rate, so we'll get paid a higher rate for them. Those students are worth like roughly $3,000 more each, transportation-wise, but they were worth about, this is based on last year's numbers, and they were worth $800 as a basic education student. So for each of those students that we can count, we're gonna get, we hope we'll get about $2,200. But again, if all the other districts around us did that or better, we would end up doing worse. So this is just a guesswork as what we're gonna get. In addition, that's just this 1/3 of the count. It's not actually thirds. I can't remember the breakdown, but they break them down in unequal units. And so it's only gonna have an impact of like roughly 1/3. The count that we're doing currently is looking similarly good. So we've got an increase in ridership overall, and we're counting these gifted students as special students for the first time. And so both those things should be positive to our numbers, but we won't know until the springtime.
The state just has a pool for transportation, and then that pool is divided out between the districts.
That's right.
So they don't go, oh, we're gonna fund you 100% and you get 100%. It's a pool of money that they put, and everyone then has to do those STAR reports
That's right.
to claim the money.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lily, for being here. Appreciate it.
Never again.
Next up, we have board policy 1800 OE9 communication and support to the board. This is superintendent's recommended policy adoption of board policy 1111, the oath of office, and updates to the oath of office / affirmation of office.
Full transparency, we were even doing work on this afternoon, cleaning up some language, we being Michelle and myself, just to make sure that it made sense. There was a legislative change last year wanting to emphasize that when a public official takes an oath of office, that they are agreeing to the laws, not just the Constitution of the United States and the state, but that is also to the laws here in the state of Washington. I think that has a lot to do with, just different cases that have come up or concerns around whether or not we're following federal law or state law. And so all of our changes are reflective of what was changed in the legislature and trying to make sure that we were in alignment. So happy to take questions. Thanks, Michelle, for helping a lot with this one.
Yeah, I guess a couple of questions. One, I could begin with changes in the legislature. I thought this was a WASDA change, or was it a legislative?
There's a legislative change that WASDA had.
I mean, what's the legislative change that prompted the WASDA?
The state, the laws of Washington wasn't necessarily in all of it. Do you have all?
I mean, because I guess, like, here's the background. I looked at the oath for an attorney, right? And it specifically says the laws of Washington and the laws of the United States of America. And then I was thinking of it, and I was like, well, there's a lot of laws that apply to a school district. For example, Section 504, Title IX. So I disagree with this idea that we're not taking an oath to uphold federal laws as well as state laws. And when I looked at the attorney oath, it specifically includes both. And I understand maybe, like, you know, like the posturing and the politics of why WASDA maybe wanted to try to say, hey, we don't support the federal government, but there's a lot of laws that we're subject to that I think we do want to uphold that are separate from the Constitution.
Can we have Jody ask her question?
And just to clarify, this is a legislative change that then wants to put up the guidance that schools should change it.
Correct.
So it's not
And
the
affirmed by
WASDA
WASDA.
originating change.
What do you mean by legislative change? I mean, I don't know what that means. I mean, like, it's mandated that this be the oath for school board directors?
So I'm pulling up the RCW, I believe it's 28A 343, 360. And I believe this was the one that was changed. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this was the 2025 change. Every person elected or appointed to the office of school director before entering upon discharge of the duties thereof shall take an oath to support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Washington and the laws of the state of Washington, and to faithfully discharge the duties of the office according to the best of his or her ability. In case any official has a written appointment or commission, the official's oath or affirmation shall be endorsed therein and sworn to before any officer authorized, and it goes on. So I don't have the red line from the legislative piece, but that's the 2025 update.
So it's
From the
legislative
RCW.
posturing, I guess.
Well,
I mean, in my,
All we
I mean,
want,
like,
I'm just
because I
trying
think
to
there happens
hear-
to be important federal laws that we should uphold, but I just wanted to understand who's doing the posturing.
It's the
And
state
can I-
legislature.
And can I just add that as someone who has taken an oath to the Constitution in a federal role?
No, you let-
Oh, and we all do for the federal government?
Well, we all support,
Yeah,
like,
okay,
we all
so
took the oath.
If I could just finish my thought,
Okay.
maybe you would be clarifying. for
Okay,
me.
yes, it
But-
would be.
As someone who has worked for the federal government and taken the oath administered by the federal government, it is to the Constitution, it is not to the laws. So I think that the norm in this case is to include the federal government, the Constitution of the United States, and then whatever state.
Laws of.
And as someone who took an oath for the Washington State Bar, it includes both the laws of the state of Washington and the federal laws.
Well,
So thank you.
Yes.
We're not lawyers.
And we're not federal employees.
Does anyone,
I move we, approve, the new board policy 1800 OE9, policy 1111 as updated.
Second?
all in favor of approving the new,
It says Constitution of the United States, not of the United States, just a really small thing, mostly me being.
yeah, that's, we can take that as a friendly,
It's just a misnomer.
yeah,
Sorry, that was.
good catch, Brady, thank you. Okay, all in favor of approving the revised oath of office board policy 1111, please say aye, students.
Aye.
Board members, aye. Any abstentions? Any nays?
Nay.
That is 2-0 for 1 nay. Thank you. Okay, next up, we have financial administration, board policy 1800 OE7, appointment of pro and con committee members for replacement EP&O levy proposition. We have received 3 applications for to serve on the pro committee and none to serve on the con committee. Is that correct? Yeah. And the deadline has now passed. So we as a board need to appoint between 1 and 3 members of a pro committee. And the applicants are Isabel Perez, Leslie Farrell, and Rika Pohl. So any questions, comments, thoughts? Just 3 people, 3 spots.
Just as a reminder, even if you were to select 1, they can have as many people as they want to help them, or you can select 3 and the same is true, just for those who are maybe new to the process at home.
And just to clarify that, and maybe the reps know this better, but the King County Elections is going to appoint someone to be on the line?
It is up to them to do the selection. What's the exact wording on that?
King County Elections may solicit members by placing a public notification on their website.
So this May.
May, yeah.
They may. Should this occur, so like, if we don't receive any applications for one of the committees, we notify King County Elections by December 12th. And we will explain how we try to recruit committee members. And then King County Elections can put a public notification on their website, and people have 3 days to apply to King County Elections. And they will notify the person who's applied, if any, and the district if a committee is formed. But then after that, there just isn't a committee. If no one applies at that point, then there isn't a committee. And that's it. So
That makes sense.
Any thoughts, comments, motions?
Is there a pro or con to have 1 or 3 in the orders? Does it make a difference?
I mean, I would think, given 3 spots, there's a presumption that we should fill them absent a compelling reason not to. So I move that we approve the list of individuals as presented on the agenda tonight.
And I second.
All in favor of appointing those 3 individuals to the pro committee, please say aye. Students, aye. Board members?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, that's it. That is a vote of 2050. Thank you to our volunteers for the committee. Next is we have a committee update from the naming committee.
So at this moment, given the number of critical and time-pressing matters currently before the board, the presentation and discussion was rescheduled for later in this school year. So that way we can ensure that the naming decision receives a high level and respectful deliberate process that it deserves. I think that naming is a meaningful act and should be considered in the care and focus that it needs. And I think that at this moment in time, the board is has very critical and time-pressing matters that they need to address. So just we have not we didn't have the discussion. So but it will be rescheduled this school year.
Any questions? Right, anything to add?
No, we talked to Frank Scott, who was the person who put forward this proposal, and also anecdotally heard from some members of the policy committee who helped write the policy, and absolutely, support of the need to focus on other things.
But we will make sure that it comes back. Okay, thank you. And then finally, in this section, we have Board Policy 1800 OE9, communication and support to the board, recommended policy revisions to Board Policy 1005, board officer and board member duties.
So this was a policy brought forward by you all to try to continue to refine and strengthen some contemplated changes to try to bolster your work at the legislative level. So this is really coming out of your work.
All this does really is add into the selection, the section of our board policy that describes how we choose a legislative representative, that if a vacancy occurs due to a change in board officers or to the seating of newly elected board members in December, that a replacement will be elected at the same time, basically, which is practice, like that's what we've been doing, but it just sort of brings the language up to what we're doing.
But it keeps the June cycle.
It keeps the June
I
cycle,
think that matters.
yeah, because the previous, like, tweaks to this policy was the paragraph that follows it that's very detailed, like, you know, the plan for how to transition to the June schedule, you know,
Yes.
That's all it would be.
that's it. Yeah. Any questions, concerns, feedback, thoughts?
Is there I'm scrolling back between, it seems like version 1 and version 2?
No, I think the same
Am I-
version got loaded sometimes.
What? What am I I'm just missing.
So I think that version 2 is the one that we're looking at.
We'll replace.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Replace it, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
There was version 1 with some language, and then we were working on that behind the scenes just to make sure that it was clear. And so our recommendation, I believe, is version 2. You had submitted version 1, we're suggesting 2 just for clarity. It's totally up to you all, but we were just trying to put 2 options there, one that we thought might be clear for future boards, but it's totally up to you all.
Okay, so version 2 takes out that third paragraph in that. Right.
And that's the December portion of how the vacancy is operating.
Okay.
Version 2. Yes,
I'm
Yes.
just trying to,
right, version 2 takes out all those references to stuff that was happening in like 2023,
got it, so just like
yeah.
cleans up the whole thing
Right.
rather
Just
than
cleans
just a
it up.
little bit, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, so,
Thank you, Michelle.
thank you, Michelle. That was a first reading, but like, we could approve it tonight if people don't feel like it needs to come back again.
I think, I will vote this tonight.
Version 2,
Version 2.
okay.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of adopting the slightly edited markup version 2 of Board Policy 1005, please say aye. Students? Aye. Board members?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No, that's 2050. Great. Now we have recognition and public input.
You guys want to go first? We have, radio first, we're still waiting for some golf team members to show.
Great.
All right, radio, you're up.
We only have one public input.
You're sitting in the chairs in the front there. You guys want to join? Lauren and.
Come on in.
Oh, you're part of
Come
this.
in.
All right, this is becoming like a tradition. And I know that our teachers would probably say, you know, you don't ever take things for granted, but really ever since I've become superintendent, our radio stations continue to compete in the John Drury Awards. And so just quickly, some background: students from KMIH, 88.9 The Bridge, our award-winning radio station that once again earned national recognition for excellence in broadcasting at the prestigious John Drury High School Radio Awards hosted by North Central College in Naperville, Illinois. KMIH was honored for Best Website, a recognition that highlights the station's growing digital presence and commitment to innovation. And the website showcases student-produced content, station updates, community programming. And last year's website was led by Sophia Loisel, who is graduated and on to college. And this year's efforts have been guided by current web director Adia Singhal. Good to see you, Adia. Superintendent Student Advisory participant under the mentorship, of course, of our teachers, especially Lauren Schechter. Our radio station also earned top honors for Best Public Affairs Program with an interview by MIHS Class of 2025 alumni or alum Marley McDonald, featuring Amanda Knox, the Seattle resident who gained national attention for being wrongfully accused of a 2007 murder in Italy. And in addition, the Bridge received third place in the category of Specialty Music Program for a broadcast celebrating Women's History Month produced by current senior and KMIH music director Brooke Newell. Alongside Class of 25 alumnus Hadley Holtzclaw, Sam Fedor, and Talia Otovich. So, with that, I'm going to turn it over to our students first to introduce yourselves, talk a little bit about your careers at KMIH and what you're up to this year. So, how do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Audia Single. I'm a senior at Mercer Island, and this is my 4th year at KMIH. And I've slowly just grown to love the program. I love everything that we do. And this year I'm the website director, so I've been working super closely with Lauren as well. And we've been just increasing our digital footprint and making sure that KMIH is accessible to all.
And I'm Brooke Newell. I'm also a current senior. Kind of same thing, Audia said. I've just grown to love the program over the 4 years that I've been a part of it. And this year I'm one of the music directors. And so I'm just helping to put all the music that you hear on the radio and make it sound current and up to date.
Awesome. And Ms. Woods and Ms. Schechter, things you want to share about the program and things you're up to?
Well, I'm just always so proud of our students and everything that they do. And these John Drury Awards are like very prestigious nationally, and to be honored with one is huge, and to have 3 come our way is a really big deal. And this year we are recognized for the best website, which also kind of shows that we are doing more than just, what we do, the broadcasting is amazing, but we are also running a radio station, and part of that is operating a website and teaching our students how to do the behind the scenes work as well. And so it's just so rewarding to, see it all come together from top to bottom, our broadcasting and our podcasting, doing interviews and how it integrates from one class to the next, and then running things behind the scenes and being recognized for that, so.
Yeah, I second what Natalie says. It's such an honor to be awarded those John Drury Awards, and Fabia is like totally doing cool new things with the website. And go on to KMIH.org, look at all the different tabs, because Audia's in there, and we're putting all the new content on there, and Brooke with the music director. It's just, we're putting a lot of great new music, and yes, I'm really proud to be a part of it and to get to work with these talented students. Yeah.
And just as a reminder to our community and our board, the combined work of our operations and maintenance team and then our radio team during the bomb cyclone last year, I think we were only down 3 hours out of that entire time where we weren't broadcasting. And we're maintaining that presence, and I know that we've now started looking at ways we can support our greater community, but I think that's the work that you're all doing. That involves a digital footprint, of course, that also allows people from around the country and around the world to tune in, thanks to our website, so thank you so much. So please join me in congratulating our students.
Real quickly, congratulations. I love radio. I love the Bridge. One quick question I have is on my RDS, like old school like display, it says 88.9 without a point in it, which I think looks really cool. Like, how did we get that? It's like unique. Like, I'm just like for my own knowledge, I'd like to. I'm curious.
Well, I know that, like, when you see it visually, it's 88.9, like 0.9, but when we say it on the air, we say KMIH 88.9, the Bridge.
Yeah, no, I just see 88.9 on like mine. It doesn't show the point.
On the.
On my display, on my old minivan. It's just like unique, like most most like FM radios, like you see the point.
Yeah.
So it just displays also in a unique way, at least
Oh,
on my
okay.
vehicle. I'm not
I
sure
don't
it's like
know. That might
antiquated technology, but it's super
Yeah.
cool.
That might be behind
Yeah.
the scenes issue. I don't know.
But it happens to be how we say it.
Yes, and that's how we say it, is we say 88.9
Yeah.
for the bridge. Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Is the golf team here and ready or still waiting on a couple students? Waiting on one? Excellent. Let's go ahead and do a photo then with the board.
Sure.
Let's come up, or you can be back.
Where do you,
How about, we fit everyone inside?
probably, okay, let's do that.
Tape out through.
Congrats, you guys.
Thank you.
Can't stop winning.
All right, here we go. On me. 3, 2, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. All right,
Duo, I kind of that's how it is. And when he was first starting, how it was first rap like 3 months up.
Why don't we do this
Like one of
student
his
board
like very first
Yes.
report.
and we'll wait for the student.
Also, not gonna be over by the police, so it's sort of like a
You wanna do your
more
report?
complicated story, but
Yeah.
just like the school
Okay.
involved is very positive.
Okay, so we're gonna do the student board rep report, since we're still waiting for one of the golf players to arrive.
So we're gonna start with elementary. And starting at Northwood, students in Miss Sherman's second grade class are working on opinion writing. They study the mentor text and then worked with a partner to create an essay before making one of their own. Island Park second graders recently got a visit from a Seattle firefighter, and second graders are currently doing a unit on government, so this helps show them all the different ways that the government provides.
Lakeridge is also working hard on their fifth grade musical already. This year will be Mary Poppins, so look for that in the spring. And as I did Mary Poppins when I was in fifth grade, and I can say it was super fun, so it's definitely a good one. So look out for that. Lakeridge fifth graders have also started working with their kindergarten buddies. This is a great program where fifth graders are paired with a kindergartner, and they intermittently go down and do fun activities with them, helping build those relationships across grades and help kindergartners kind of know what's in front of them.
On the right, Northwood ELD teacher Mr. Kuznetsov has started to gather Russian-speaking students together during lunches on Friday so they can practice their Russian and find connections. It's awesome to see the support for our bilingual students.
Pacific Science Center's mobile planetarium also recently visited first grade classrooms. This is a super cool experience that teaches kids about how the stars move across the night sky, how different planets interact, and what constellations to look for when they're stargazing. First graders in Northwood are also currently working hard on designing hermit crab habitats for the crabs they will soon get. Students, they did research on what hermit crabs need to live and are working together in groups to make the best habitat possible so they can then work together to take care of their crab once they get those.
Recently, West Mercer hosted a fall cleanup. They weeded, planted plants, and altogether helped improve West Mercer's landscaping. So thank you so much to the parents and students who helped maintain our schools. Island Park's green team also planted bulbs and perennials in the Island Park Learning Garden this week.
Halloween was well celebrated at all of the elementary schools. Staff at Northwood dressed up as owls. All the elementaries hosted their annual parades. And the Northwood PTA hosted a fall festival with educational Halloween activities for kids across the school. super cool. West Mercer kindergartners also recently learned about the growth and life cycle of pumpkins, and then that culminated in a pumpkin hunt in the courtyard. West Mercer fifth graders also recently took a field trip to Muddy Boots Farm at the end of their unit on cultivating natural resources. They learned about growing corn, crop rotation, and got to do fun activities like going through a corn maze. So lots of great fall activities going on in all the schools.
At the middle school, our middle school SSA students told us that teachers are now becoming more well-adjusted to the new Gator Time system, and it seems to be quite popular among students. So we're glad to see that they're feeling supported.
Marceau June, sorry, I mispronounced that, a program officer for education at the French consulate in San Francisco, recently visited the IMS Before School French language program. So he talked about what he does at the consulate, showed kids some French music, and helped showcase French like across the world in that way. So super cool program there. The orchestra also recently put up with their annual concert just a few days before Halloween. This was a super fun event with the orchestra members who all dressed up for the concert and played some classic spooky Halloween music. So super cool going on there.
And then on to the high school.
Two students in MIHS leadership, freshman Delaney Kinsella and senior Sarah Godke, planned and held a Veterans Day assembly at IMS on November 5th during Islander Hour. This assembly honored staff and veterans through our community and featured patriotic performances from the MIHS Orchestra. Frank Sorba, a local veteran and parent of MIHS alumni, gave a speech. It was very inspiring for World's Better Future leaders and reminded us about the many freedoms we enjoy today were earned from the work of past soldiers and the young Americans who fought for us. So we're super grateful for our veterans and we appreciate all of our students' work to spotlight them.
As fall sports wraps up, we want to highlight some of the amazing performances of our fall sports programs. So girls swim and dive won their 4th consecutive district championship this past weekend, and they're also coming off of 3 consecutive state championships. So they're hoping to go for a 4th this weekend. And that on the bottom right, that's the senior class in SWIVE. And so the whole time they've been in high school so far, they've just won every state championship, which is impressive. And then Mercer Island boys and girls cross country both became repeat champions this Saturday, which the coach would tell you many times is a first for any 3A school in Washington ever. So that was really exciting. Sophia Rodriguez became a 3rd time consecutive individual champion, and Bodie Thomas and Matthew Lawrence led the boys team by both placing in the top 10. Both teams represented our school strongly and will hopefully represent us just as strongly at Nike's regional race in Spokane, which will take place this weekend. And boys golf, who's here right now, is still going strongly this year. They tied for 3rd place at district, and they are going to go to the state tournament in May. And it was impressive because they scored 292, which was one of the 5 lowest scores in their team's history. So congratulations.
The high school's drama Mean Girls is opening tonight at 7 p.m. Tickets are $10 for students and $20 for adults, but students can get in free with ASB on Saturday for the show. They will take place this Saturday and next Saturday. The show is double cast with roles in Cast Fetch opening tonight and Cast Rule opening tomorrow. So be sure to stop by the show twice to catch both casts. Closing night is next Saturday, so make sure to put that on your calendar and get tickets soon. This Monday, Brody and I partook in a state visit from some of our state legislators, so I'm sure you'll hear more about that later. But this was super cool, and it really highlighted the recent literacy pilot program in Mercer Island School District and how our district is working to cover learning gaps between neurotypical learners and students with learning disabilities. Both Northwood and Island Park teachers showed up in many different ways and showed us how they ensured our students in our district are learning to read and closing those learning gaps. It was really incredible. We heard from students who expressed how this program has helped them in really quite extraordinary ways, including feeling less inclined to disrupt class and feeling more successful in their education. So this is altogether becoming an incredibly successful program. It was super cool to see.
On a slightly different note, the culture at our school and a lot of things that have happened lately have really shifted and been thrown off. The morning before our last meeting, an article was released regarding Curtis Johnston, an English teacher beloved by many and the teacher of many now upperclassmen at the high school. Obviously, many students were forced to reconsider their opinion of Mr. Johnston. Because he was the 2nd teacher to be accused of sexual misconduct this fall, many different students have felt differently about our school district's culture, response, and just overall what's going on. While some students feel betrayed and angry, others feel confused and sad. Others more have expressed feeling indifferent because these incidents occurred long ago and they may be underclassmen who never had Johnston or Twombly. Lucy and I, in the past couple weeks, have participated in a number of different discussions since then, and we have determined that many different students feel very differently. And so it would not be appropriate if we just said one thing. And so we want to give a few different perspectives from different students, including quotes and some of the projects that our students have undertaken to both share how they feel and advocate for change going forward.
So one incredible advocacy project that came from Mia Tamarkin and Maggie Anderson, 2 seniors in the radio department at the high school, was really cool. So they led a radio program with both staff and students' thoughts about the experience of coping with strong emotions. So here's a quote from Maggie about why she felt like this project was necessary and some of its intended impacts.
Mia and I did this radio project because we wanted to share the student perspective on the challenging news we've received in the past few months. Our goal was to spread student voices, their raw thoughts on this issue, and gain insight into the topics of grooming and what our administration is doing from trusted adults at our school. We interviewed Principal Wold to learn about what the administrative team is doing to mitigate and handle uproar this has caused and how they're helping MISD families deal with their feelings.
Mia and Maggie also invited the president of One Love Club, a club at the high school, and Chris Harnish, one of our MIYFS counselors, to review how to detect healthy versus unhealthy relationships and how to report inappropriate behaviors on the Say Something app. The main goal was to demonstrate to students that no matter how they feel, our school still has safe places and our voices have the power to create change. They also hope to validate the many different feelings students have and help students understand that no one is alone. So we really recommend that you listen to this.
Students writing for the Islander, our MIHS newspaper, also expressed why they wrote an article regarding the misconduct and subsequent response. They wrote 2 partner articles, one to deliver the facts of the case and the other to share their response as students. Regarding the fact-based article, journalism editors wrote, "The Islander is a trusted source for students. Each article is thoroughly researched before publishing, curated by peers who have had firsthand experience with Johnston, and combined with feedback from past and present MIHS students and staff from our community outreach and involvement."
Titled How Did We Get Here? The opinion article focused on how journalisms feel about the response to Johnson's misconduct from administration and district leaders. Being former students of Johnson, some journalism students expressed their disappointment with district measures to respond and change practices in our district that allowed this inappropriate relationship to begin in the first place. However, they expressed hope that this can be an opportunity for improvement within our district and state that this incident does not define us.
The Islander just released a 3rd article also, so feel free to read all 3 of those. They're really good reads and they do have really good information. Within MIHS leadership, Maya Talby and Anusha Zaveri, 2 seniors who sit on the King County Sexual Resource Center, King County Sexual Assault Resource Center Student Board, they shifted the focus of their sexual assault awareness work that they've already been doing at our high school. While they have previously led a sexual assault awareness assembly for the senior class each year, they're now shifting their attention to increase education to other parts of the student body more regularly. Zaveri and Talby also sit on the new Student Safety and Wellbeing Committee and are working on action items to strengthen education about sexual assault awareness in both our school and our district.
At our SSA meeting, which took place last Wednesday, 5th through 12th graders participated in the Q&A to both ask questions about what our district does in the case of suspected sexual misconduct, as well as provide suggestions for how we can provide more transparency and rebuild trust with students who feel hurt. We wrote down all the questions that were asked, so if you would like to see them, please let us know. We're going through them, but a lot of them focused on kind of what our district is going to do to educate students regarding inappropriate relationships with students, how reporting works and things regarding that manner. So it was very focused on how can students make themselves more safe within our district. The MIHS Student Senate is also going to be hosting a similar Q&A, and we're looking to work with administration to schedule that and spread information to a wider portion of our student body. So it's wonderful to see how much our administration is focused on talking with students and having those open conversations. They're really quite transformative, and I think help students feel more safe within our district, being able to have their questions answered in those open forums.
And as we said, feelings are all over. This is students, some of us are shaken, some of us are looking for more information. Some of us don't even understand what's going on. And so this is a big event, but I remain optimistic that we can move on from this. I think that we cannot move on from it, however, if we don't do the work. And I think it looks like we've started to do the work, and so we just have to continue.
Thank you for taking that.
I would be interested to see the rest of the questions. And we could just pass them on to everyone. Thanks for your questions.
We want to bring forward now our golf team as a final recognition. We, as you have heard, we do have our team headed back to state, but we need to go all the way back to last year's state championship and acknowledge some tremendous work and a really big comeback. This team was down by 8 strokes after day 1. Heading into day 2, they really needed to lower their scores. And if I just kind of give you the scores of the players, I'm going to turn it over to them to talk a little bit more. But Alex going from a 74 to a 71 on day 2. Jack Bessiker, who graduated, went from 75 to 71. Lucas, 79 to a 76. Eugene, 82 to 77. And another alumnus, Ryan Jacobson, 83 to 78. So to be able to bounce back after a tough first day and really fight it out was a big win. And I think we even overcame Bellevue, which was the comeback on that. So we've also had a change in leadership, and we have Coach Sang Lee now leading the charge with our team. And you could talk a little bit more about the bridge, maybe from last year to this year, and then we'll turn over to the students to talk about last year's championship and this year's season.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah, it's my first time being a coach with these guys, and it's been a blast. They're already established, and they were already they had a high goal to reach this year as well, because they made state and they went to nationals. And so we came in with high expectations to do really well again. And yeah, more than anything, we grew together as a team. I got to know these guys a lot deeper. And you know, we did really well in our district match. And just like we beat Bellevue or came back from a big deficit, we did that as well in districts as well. We were kind of in the back, the front side, and then towards the end, we came back and we did really well. And so I'm really proud of these guys. And we're excited for the state tournament in May.
Alex, you want to start it off and talk a little bit about last season and your big state championship?
To me, it really means the world to be able to win a state championship like this. As you guys know, golf is kind of an individual sport, and to be able to share the experience with the team is really like a once in a lifetime opportunity, and be able to compete at a high level and it's just a different feeling when you can come back from we didn't play our best the first day, not bad, but just to be able to come back the second day and play better and push yourself past the finish line and get the win.
I would agree with that. I mean, like Alex said, golf is an individual sport. I've now been playing for 10 years, and high school isn't anything like what I've encountered. And so standing on the last hole, watching Alex come up, I mean, we're neck and neck with Bellevue. He needs to make a birdie. My heart was racing. I was probably like 200 beats per minute. I couldn't even feel it. But just watching him hit like a beautiful shot and getting us a state win and all of us celebrating together, spending the moments in the hotel on course with other teams. I mean, last year was the highlight of my life. I couldn't have asked for more.
Yeah, I didn't play last year, but I got to watch these guys. They were down 8 in the beginning, and then I thought we had a chance to come back, and then just walked the course with them, supported them, helped them. And once we got to like hole 16 and 17, they started coming back. And Jack like 2-putted from like 100 feet from like the fringe to the front pin. It was really cool. And we just like climbed the leaderboard, which was really cool.
Real quickly, what was the course?
Creek at Qualchin.
It's in Spokane.
Where's state this year? Back there or?
It is in Spokane again. It's at some place called Indian Canyon.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
And Preston is actually, he got voted to be our next year's captain, one of the captains. And so he's a sophomore this year. Last year was a freshman. He got to experience that. So we need him to play well in upcoming year, and then he's going to take on a bigger role. And so we're super excited. The team's in good hands.
When does the golf season like start and end?
It starts right before school starts, or right before school starts in August, at the end of the year, or end of August for tryouts. And we get them we get the team ready just the first week, and then they just play matches day after day, almost within the 2 months period. Yeah, and then we just ended. We just had our banquet actually on Monday. Yeah.
But the state championship is until the spring when it warms back up. and
It's a little bit weird. It's like,
coincides.
yeah, we usually start back up in mid-April,
Yeah.
usually around spring break, and then we go until the end of May when the state tournament is.
Got it. Okay, great. Congratulations.
Please join me in congratulating our. We're gonna do a picture at the board. What? No, but I know. I know some.
You're good.
Make sure I can see Christina again. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Congrats, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi. Hey, nice
Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah. Thank you. Good to see you. All right, thanks for being here.
Just a couple more recognitions. We have Substitute Educators Day coming up on November 21st. It'll be during the WASDA conference, but opportunity to recognize our substitute educators. And then this month, obviously, we have Thanksgiving towards the end of the month, and then also Native American Heritage Day, the day after Thanksgiving, which also signifies that we are in the midst of Native American Heritage Month. And so those are some recognitions to be aware of.
And it's also Diabetes Awareness Month.
I did not know that.
Also, I think this month is the 50th anniversary of the IDEA Act. Just for everyone's
There we go. Federal.
knowledge. Yes. Okay, thank you. So next we have public input. Hey, Tom, are you still here? No, he didn't go that way. He went out the door. I heard the doors closed. Somebody want to just stick their head out? He's our only speaker, so I can't have someone else go first.
You can get tired waiting.
I was definitely looking for, like, when he went out, I was like, oh, is he gonna go left? Do we need to?
Oh, really?
Or no, he went the other way.
I heard him get out.
No, just our.
Is he
only
online?
speaker worked it.
No, he was here and then he walked out. I know he was here, but maybe
Yeah.
he walked out.
I didn't see him.
Okay, well, that was our public speaker. Next, thank you guys for looking. Appreciate it. Next up, we have full governance process monitoring. Oh, yeah. Let's take a break. Let's take a 15-minute, 10-minute dinner break? 10 minute? Okay, we're gonna take a 10-minute dinner break. So, we'll be back at 6:40. Thank you. volunteers who feed us. Full governance process monitoring time. Board policy 1005, board officer and board member duties. This is our annual monitoring. This is actually what triggered the idea of updating the language around how we select legislative representatives, seeing it in here and being like, oh, this is about 2023, 2024. So, okay. Everyone who's read this, like, are there questions, comments, thoughts? Do we want to go through them one at a time? Let's go through them. Okay. Annual organizational meeting, selection of president and vice president. That's how we've been doing it, so I guess we're in compliance. The superintendent will act as board secretary and perform the duties as outlined by law, and the superintendent will appoint a recording secretary of the board, which he has done. The normal order of business will be modified to the annual organizational meeting. Right, welcome to intro newly elected board members. Offer nominations for president. So, can you refresh our collective memory, Fred, as to how this goes at the next meeting then, like in terms of like the swearing in part and the.
So the first thing is you'll all come in and you'll take your seats just as you are, because we need to call the meeting to order, establish the agenda, and then approve the minutes. After the minutes are approved, then that kind of ends the last official order of business for Director Lewis and Director Lurie on that, and then we'll need to swear in new board members. It's been done a couple different ways as to whether or not you want to recess and have a reception at that time, or we swear in the new board members, they take a seat, and then your last order of business is you take nominations for a new president.
Right.
And so then you go through the selection process with a roll call vote on a new president. And then once that takes place, then if it's not you go and take a different seat, the new president comes. And then they carry over the proceedings for a vice president.
Right.
And any other shuffling that has to take place from there.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the new president and vice president, or the new president then runs the rest.
Finishes the meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. How did we do it when you guys joined the board? Did we take a break?
We did not.
Wasn't there a cake?
Yeah, so when Director D'Souza and Director Din finished their term, then yes, we took a recess, we have a cake, and we have some other things.
Yeah.
It was a little bit different for the incoming of Director Martinez and Director Lee, because we had a delay in the count because of how close the races were.
Right.
And so then we ended up swearing in Director Martinez did we do it in December or December, and then it was January for Director.
Jan was the acting. That's right.
Correct, and Jan was that.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to get it on track. So I would say we take a break after the new board members are sworn in.
Great.
And just give everyone, and then that way families can be here and have this cake or whatever. Okay, so that's the procedure that we're following. And have been following. Annual organizational meeting, selection of ledge rep. So yeah, that is, since we just approved the revised version, can we update this language as well to match?
We definitely will. I think what you'll do is approve whether or not you're in compliance based on what has been.
Yeah.
And then we will update it for your next year, for your next monitoring.
Okay, great. So, see, election process. Duties, the president of the board does blah, blah, blah. Monitor board behavior. Determine compliance on level 0 board policies on governance process and board superintendent relationship using any reasonable interpretation of the provisions in those policies. Yep. Sign contracts. Yeah. I mean, We can keep going through this, like, I don't
believe there's well, I mean, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna vote not in compliance with regards to, subsection. Sorry, I just, what?
B. No, sorry, I'll let you speak with your own mouth.
Under president, sorry, I just had it in front of me.
President is
Number
under section
5, in
three.
dealing with the media and the public in general, the president will serve as spokesperson of the board without actions taken and decisions made by the board as a body. I will be voting not in compliance with.
Because we've had other people speaking on behalf of them.
I mean, we can get into it if we want to, I don't see a purpose. But yeah, when other people go to the media, it's,
I just think that might be section D, which is
Oh,
more
is
about
that-
the,
I'm
keep
under
going down.
Oh, I'm sorry, am I too far down?
No, you're further up, like, the.
3, board officers' duties, president, then under number.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, I think you're really taking issue with the next section.
Okay, sorry, I jumped.
Which is about, individual board members.
Well, duties, what?
Why don't you go one
I
by
don't
one?
care.
Just you could vote in compliance, start with number 1.
Yeah,
And then keep going down, and then once we get there.
Yeah.
Or whichever ones board members want to discuss further.
I'm
or
not taking
vote
that as
yes.
like a.
I'm not implying the president is not in compliance,
Yeah,
but
I'm just
that,
saying,
I'm saying the board as a whole.
Yeah.
Has not
Totally
followed
fine.
that.
totally fine.
Easily confused.
So let's just start at the beginning. Should we just take a vote on each section?
I can add
Each
some
number?
comments for third, I mean, maybe for 3.
Yeah.
So I don't think we've been in compliance with 3A, 1B in particular. I think the use of executive sessions to try to transform otherwise public information into private information and to intimidate elected
Wait,
officials.
wait, about.
Ensure that the board meeting deliberations are fair, open, and thorough, but also efficient, timely, orderly, and to the point.
Yeah.
And I believe that we've been using executive sessions in a way that they were not intended to transform otherwise public information into private information and to intimidate elected officials from speaking out about matters which are of public concern. And it's to Deborah's point, I have no idea what she's talking to. If she has any confusion on who's speaking on behalf of the board, I'm dumbfounded. I don't think anyone has been speaking on behalf of the board.
So I don't really want to get into a big back and forth about it, but the purpose of executive sessions, among the purposes of executive session is to discuss matters that may relate to legal matters. Board's consideration and personnel actions.
You can't use that as a blanket to transform public information.
It's literally what they're for. Okay, let's go through and just vote. So, speaking of being efficient, through things. So number 1, annual organizational meeting, selection of president and vice president. And students, you're welcome to like opt out of this. This is about like the board finding themselves in compliance, but you are also completely welcome to vote. So I will still give you the chance to vote. So, section 1, annual organizational meeting, selection of vice president. Do we find the board in compliance? Do we need a, say, we still need a motion? Can somebody make a motion?
I move a motion to.
Yeah.
That's this.
Okay, finance and compliance. Okay,
Compliance with.
is there a second? Okay, second. All in favor of finance and compliance on section 1, please say aye. Students?
Aye.
Board members?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No, so it's 2050. And then section 2, annual organizational meeting, selection of legislative representatives. I have a motion.
I have moved, the compliance on the annual organization meeting. Second.
All in favor of finance and compliance on the selection of legislative representatives, please say aye. Students?
Aye.
Board members?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. Okay, section 3, board officers' duties. Motion?
Now I have to read it closely. I move to find a board in compliance with this.
Okay.
With the caveat that.
Yeah.
Maybe Deborah's looking at the board member to send her. Hang on, let me look.
Take a moment.
Further caveat.
Sorry, is that in, are you making that motion?
I think I made the motion.
Okay. So we're on.
I mean, I think there's issues in both, so you make whatever motion you wish and I will.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So, like, if, it's not a compliance, we move to a level 2 for the following years on how are we structuring our working, our boarding process and that, so what, yeah.
What is the consequence, is what you're saying?
Yes, pretty much. I'm sorry, I have
I mean,
like
if one
many
person
thoughts
finds us
there.
not in compliance on a section, then like it's up to the board, what the board wants to do about that. You know, if the majority of board members find us not in compliance on a section, like definitely it's something the board should be discussing further, whether there's action that needs to be taken. Because we're about to have like new board members and a new leadership, like I imagine it would be part of like, I don't know, the next year's board forming and norming process, you know.
I actually will not be in compliance because I think that this is something that we have to work through and some of the things there's issues here and there on different things, but I think it is because of who we are as a board right now.
Yeah.
We have not been in compliance with all the previous, and it's not a secret that we have. So I think that I will put it as a known, just so that with the next board, we have time to actually work with all this as a new governance body.
It's fine. Okay, so we have a motion to find the board in compliance on this section.
I can withdraw it.
No,
it's
okay.
It's appropriate.
If I get a second, then everybody can vote. So, is there a second? You don't have to vote for something just because you seconded it.
So you're moving or
No,
you're?
Jody moved before that we should find the board in compliance. So if someone maybe seconds it, then we can vote. But if there's no second, then
The motion dies.
the motion dies. So
I move that we find the board not in compliance
There you
with
go.
section 30.
there we go.
And I can second.
I concur because I believe we're out of compliance with 3A1B.
So all in favor of finding the board not in compliance with section 3, please say aye. Students?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Okay, 2 abstentions. Board directors, say aye.
Aye.
And any nays? I'm saying nay.
Also nay.
This is so complicated. No abstention. So that's 3 nays and 2 abstentions. I mean, sorry, 3 yeses that were not in compliance and 2 noes. Okay, thank you. Okay, next section is Vice President?
That's the board development.
Oh, section, wait.
Yeah.
So that was section 3,
That was
now you're on
section
section
3.
4.
So section 4 is, sorry, there you go, board development, yeah.
Oh, my bad, okay, sorry.
That actually covered like a lot.
I didn't realize that.
Section 4, board development, is there a motion? This is about
I move that we,
orientation of candidates and study sessions for like candidate orientation.
I move that we find the board in compliance with section 4.
Second.
All in favor of finding the board in compliance with section 4, please say aye. Students?
Aye.
Board members?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? That is 2050. So we are overall not in compliance, because this isn't a case of a noted exception.
Can I just, I mean, it doesn't matter, but can I switch my vote? Or does it not matter? I'm good, okay. Because I didn't realize, I thought we were just talking about the president there, and I didn't realize we were going over the whole. I thought we were going through
That's okay, because I think we aren't in compliance on some of the
Yeah.
other items later, further
That's right.
down, so it's not, not inaccurate, so, yeah.
Do you want to revote?
No, it's fine.
You want to revote?
It went, no, it went properly, so.
I don't mind, does everybody want to
Just
revote?
corrects the record.
I've never done that,
I don't know, I don't think
it's the procedure.
Can we actually do that?
You can,
I
it's
think it's-
parliamentary procedure, so it's totally up to you on how you want to do that. It's
I mean, it's totally fine, I just misunderstood.
Do you
that we were
want
voting
to
by voting
revoke?
like-
Yes.
So my question till the very end.
But I'm going to revote. Okay, what?
What pleasant till the very end.
You can leave
So
anytime you
you-
want.
I'm Junior.
Do you wanna move to revote that, the?
She can just ask to change her vote on that one.
You just changed my vote on that one?
You may.
Thank you.
Okay.
So that
So
would
that's
be
actually
4-1.
Yeah, 4-1.
Section 3 is now 002 and then 4-1.
Yeah.
For not in compliance. Okay, noted.
You know, for future, if we're revising this at some point, it might be good to break it up into 2 sections, like into, like, instead of the 3 encompassing so many different topics for this kind of situation, like, so 3 would maybe be about like leadership and stuff, and then you have a different section for like individual.
So it'll come up at your next board meeting as a opportunity to revise the policy.
Oh, perfect. Well,
And I will
okay.
also separate the students from the. Right.
Yes, great, okay, sounds good. All right, and we have a consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda as posted.
Second. All in favor of approving the consent agenda as posted, please say aye, students.
Aye.
Board members?
Aye.
Any nays, any abstentions? No? Okay. Nothing removed from the consent agenda. Superintendent report and announcements.
Great. I'm gonna bring up a slide deck really quickly here. We're continuing a lot of work. Hopefully you had a chance to see the letter that the high school had put together reflecting the work done on Monday as we continue, and to kind of echo, I think, Brody and Lucy's sentiments. It's an opportunity for our school district to do a lot of reflection, and we really kind of framed it around something that we actually use a lot with student data, and that is a what, so what, now what? And the what is what's happened in the past, and some of those are known, some of them become known, but it's not about shying away from that. But as we uncover the past, then we have to say, so what does that mean? And that's really the work that we're doing now around the feelings of individuals as well as our system in general. So we can really start moving to the now what. I think everyone is completely entitled to, as both of our student board reps mentioned, their own feelings, opinions, and processing. But at the same time, we also have to start looking to that, what are we gonna do about that? And so we've been using the term that we actually took from a gun violence prevention seminar that some of us attended a few weeks ago, and that is the notion of we're all on duty. And that on duty is those of us as staff members, but certainly our community. And then what is the work we need to do around teaching and learning and training with our students. And it's not because it's their responsibility, but we need to equip them with the tools and the resources. So something that Aaron and I attended was a symposium put on by our Washington State Risk Management Pool last Friday. And a couple highlights from that I think are important to think about. And that is, what makes some of our work so challenging? And there's certainly plenty of improvement we need to do each and every day and in and around our schools. But we also make things more complicated because school isn't just inside of our 4 walls of a classroom or our hallways, but it's also all the other places and experiences that we try to provide our students. And so, when you hear that a swim and dive team qualifies for districts on Saturday, we have to then get everything ready so that they can go participate the following week in a state tournament. Sometimes that's getting new updates on transportation or new hotels and all of those things that add complications. And I think what we know is we have to not only do the simple things really well, but we need to do the complicated things because we wouldn't want to give up on this. This is also what makes high school, middle school, and our elementary special. And that's everything from sending third graders and fifth graders on overnight trips to sending students overseas. So we'll continue working on that and not letting challenge get in the way of opportunities for students. An organization that I'm going to talk a little bit more about, which is Presidium, they did a presentation too, and there were a couple things that stood out for me and that I've been contemplating and thinking about, and that is, you know, different statistics are out there, but it's generally right around the 1 in 4 girls will be victims of sexual abuse before the age of 18, and 1 in 13 boys. And I think the challenge ahead of us is, how do we disrupt that, dismantle that, and change that trajectory for the place that we can control most, and that is our own school district. What is also startling is not only about the reports, but that it is more likely that that sexual abuse will actually come from student on student and not adult on student. And so in our education with our students, we need to make sure that we don't lose sight of something that could become another challenge. And so when we're thinking about equipping our students with the knowledge, skills, and dispositions to look out for one another, look out for themselves and our staff, we have to also be thinking about some of those other pieces. But as we think about the now what and where to head, just some updates for you as a board around changes we're already putting into place around reporting updates. We have started working on an updated and revamped flow chart that helps our staff and our administrators as well as community know, you know, what is a pathway when it involves CPS? What is a pathway when it involves police? What's a pathway when it involves one of our investigations? But then also, is it a boundary violation or is it sexual misconduct? Is it abuse? Is it neglect? Because those lines start to get blurry and very complicated. So we're trying to make it very clear, and we'll be rolling that out. We've also enhanced and made changes to better track reports provided to provide better continuity between administrators, between superintendents, between principals, and so that we are doing a more aligned practice for all of us. And then thinking about additional training, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, particularly for our administrators. Presidium, who presented again, they are a nationwide organization, and they do work with nonprofits, school districts, all kinds of entities, and they've been doing it for over 30 years. And they really come up with this idea that a culture of safety really starts with leadership. And it's that commitment to be vocal and to be adamant, to create standards that are clear and enforced, to making sure that everyone knows what their jobs are. So when we say you're on duty, what does that mean? And what are our roles and responsibilities? That we're taking our warning signs seriously, that we're reporting concerns, we're engaging our staff members, and then certainly that quality is just part of our ethos. In their work, and this is some of the work that we're going to engage with them, is thinking about what they call the safety equation. And that is doing a needs analysis and a root cause analysis, that if we're going to get to a safe environment, that we need to be thinking about not just one of these or two of these, but really thinking systemically about these 8 components that really make up the safety equation. And so we're going to be working with them in partnership. And thanks to our partnership with the Washington State Risk Management Pool, as expensive as it's gotten, there's a prevention side to it. That it's not always just the insurance you have to use for claims, it's what do you do to avoid claims. And they're doing a lot of great work that we're going to join there. Some things that are coming up. We're going to have some workshops and certification that we'll be sending some of our administrators through. Thinking about our policies, and then they have a helpline 7 days a week where if reports come in or we have questions around tips we've received, we have another outside entity to turn to help us really think through and problem solve. And then finally, as I said, thinking about the system risk assessment. I think all of this work has to be done at a system level and a community level as well as a district level. And so I wanted to give you some ideas around some partnerships that we're continuing to strengthen internally. I've talked to our Youth and Family Services group, and they continue to be great partners. And while some may see them as external, we continue to see them as internal, as tremendous partners in the work. Parent Edge is partnering with YFS in December, I believe it's December 8th, and offering a parent education opportunity around moving from just the stranger danger to really the overall protection of our students. And I appreciate their work in this as well with our PTAs, our boosters, and then there's all of us in this room. It's our students, our staff, it's our adults, it's our parents working together. And that includes the committee that we've formed as well. And then we have external partners, King County Sexual Assault Resource Center, as was mentioned in the student board rep report. They came alongside on Monday to engage with our staff. They're participants on our committee, as well as UW Harborview, who has a sexual assault resource entity and partners. We have the Educational Service District, OSPI, and then through some great connections that we have in our district, Lisa Brown, who was general counsel for Georgetown University for years, and then joined the Obama administration, and then headed up the general counsel for the United States Department of Ed, did a ton of Title IX work at the federal level. She has been nice enough to take phone calls from us to help us really think through our system and approach as well. And then lastly, as I said, Presidium, we have meetings with them next week, as well as another meeting with Lisa Brown. So I point those out because, I know that our work, I think you said it well, Brody and Lucy, and that is, the work has to start somewhere. We have to take a step forward, and we have to have hope and encouragement. And I am hopeful that we're heading in the right direction, and we need to continue to work extremely hard about the things that are outside of this particular topic, but certainly inside it. But, on Tuesday, I received an email from Chris Johnson, and he's the education director for KSAR. And it was to Derek Franklin and myself, and he was seeking permission to use the frameworks and the approach that we're taking on Mercer Island with some other school districts that he's working with, because of the systems approach and the community approach with which we're taking. And so while I know that we have a long way to go, I am encouraged that we're on the right track with the direction that we're headed. And I can't thank our staff and our students and our parents for joining us, because, today is about, what does this all mean? But tomorrow is about what are we going to do about it. And it won't be linear, but I believe that if we're doing it together and we continue to confront each and every challenge head on, our students are going to be better off because of it, past and future, our staff, our entire community, and most importantly, the longevity of our district. So those are some things that are happening. Tomorrow we'll have another update to the community with some of these talking points in there as we continue to try to move forward. We have a website that Ian's been building, or a web page that will have a number of the FAQs from our PTAs, who I want to also publicly thank for coming alongside, helping us to gather questions from our community to begin that conversation of answering a lot of very important questions. And so we haven't gotten to all of them for the FAQ, but we'll be chipping away at that along the way. So, any questions or updates?
I just want to comment that, thank you for putting this, because I think, between your presentation and Fred, I acknowledge that the way the students are feeling, I think is the same way that the community is feeling. Each one feels different, and there's pain, period, that I acknowledge that. And this is something that we're gonna have to work together as a community and as a body. And there's steps, and it's gonna take us a long road, but as long as we support each other. So I appreciate the efforts that you're doing on that end, and your report, because acknowledging that this happened and there's pain and trust was broken matters, and we know that. So
Thank you so much for all of that as well. I know that that kind of action is really what speaks to people and also being more safe in our schools. Kind of like, I know a lot of students feel like, what can I do to protect myself? Because you really want to have that action for yourself, which is where a lot of the like, you know, what are correct boundaries is coming from, because you want to be able to protect yourself in these instances. So just thank you so much for all this work that's going on in improving our district, and I know it'll help students far into the future.
And thank you. We had a great meeting with the SSA the other day. Learned a lot, and it's helping to shape how we think about training and where that looks like. So there'll be a lot more coming out of that because, so thank you.
What a great example of like the importance of student voice on the board. So, for having that tonight. Legislative report.
Do you want to do the legislature report, Deborah? It's gonna be you.
You did all the work. I was along for the ride.
We did it good. So I think that I have to acknowledge first that we had the legislators come this past Monday to the district. So we had the three legislators, Senator Wellman, Representative Tai, and Representative San, came for a full morning. So we met here first, it was with staff, students, and ledge reps. And we had one parent from PTA Advocacy joining us. We went to Island Park, second grade, to see how access for all, and it was particularly a second part of a conversation that we had in the spring with them in Olympia about how access for all was looking at that moment in time. So we were planning this since the spring, right? So this was the time that they were able to come to the school before the ledge session in Olympia to actually see how it looked. So we went to Island Park and then to West Mercer. Two different experiences. One was with the whole group, and then the other one was the breakup group. But it is an amazing program. I think that I don't know, help me out, because I think you were there in the visit. I think I saw it before. So what was your experience with going? I know that you share a little bit, but
Oh, like with the access for all.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, it was incredible to hear. We heard from two students who were, I think, in third grade, I believe, talking about their experience with the program, and it was amazing to hear. They talked about like reductions in even like disruptive behavior in class, and just how much more excited they were to be at school and felt like they were learning a lot better. So it was really amazing to see, and all the data of how much better students are performing was pretty incredible. It was amazing. Yeah.
And one thing that, isn't, I mean, it is all about reading and learning for our students, but one of the things that not only, being a better citizen, but feeling better about themselves. And you building that confidence as a learner, and then therefore as a human across the board was really inspiring to hear. Kind of makes sense.
And I think for me, it's seeing how an inclusive classroom looks like, because it's able to serve all the needs of each particular, every single student, but at the same time in a way that it is inclusive, and the kids really, as my understanding, they hit their growth rate for the year by January, right? Correct? That's what they said, Noah?
Yeah, 91%, I think.
Yes.
Growth by January, yeah.
So it is, and then after Northwood, we met also with other parents who had their kids in that program last year or this year, and they were sharing also the impact that it's not only about literacy, but how even it impacts in math. So there's a lot of math problems that you have to read, and 20% of students have a reading difficulty.
Yeah.
Yes, so 20% is a huge number, and this program has allowed to serve those students. So the earlier we can provide services, the less services they can need in the future. So I think that this is promising. I think that we showed it, and I think that now it's a matter of, so now what? How can we expand it, and how can they expand it also beyond Mercer Island, right? So that's where the conversation is right now. I think that it is not an inexpensive program to train our teachers, and I appreciate the PTA and the foundation to support this so far. So now I think that it is putting our heads together to see how we can expand this, because I think it is a fantastic program, and And a lot of conversations with them started with them, so each one have a different ask and follow up, so I think that we have to keep sharing, but that also, I was thinking after, because after the visit, we came here and had lunch, and I think we had a different conversation, it was between our priorities, but I don't know if it makes more sense to actually move the linkage session that we have early January, to have it always in November, like in a full day like that, and then something that we want to share, maybe it's maybe a smaller site visit, but then the conversation at the end, because at the end, I did ask Senator Wellman about she had some question about the insurance, and I asked, do you want to wait until the linkage, or would it make more sense to set it now? It's like, now is the time, by January is too late.
Yeah.
So if we had that conversation early, the linkage, in November, and then maybe in January do something like, maybe something different, like we have done more and one-on-one, and it is very, I think it makes more sense because they will be ready for
That makes
that.
a ton of sense to me.
And just, it's interesting when we say insurance, we all think different
Oh,
things.
yes.
She was very focused on liability insurance. I'm just so everyone knows, she was very focused on liability insurance for the district.
And I was very
and we're
focused on
very
benefits.
focused on the health benefits and the cost implications of that. And so, and then there's the, liability versus the.
But even some idea that we were trying to bounce back, they were just saying, like, this is the time that you can also start forming alliance with, like, they cannot just, I don't know, make an amendment or bring in a bill just like itself. They have to do also alliance with their peers and as representatives. So it is time consuming. So having it in November then makes more sense in terms of how they can work together with at the.
And we may need to be more flexible with our times. Typically, we've talked about the evenings. Evenings are really hard for them, and that was one of the barriers this year to a November meeting with them, is getting evenings. So if we're willing to do a daytime linkage instead of an evening, that might open up more opportunities, which is why we were able to orchestrate the board or the visit this week. It was daytime. So if we're interested in that, I think that might open up more
Because
opportunities.
even if not everybody, like in this case, that Deborah and I work with them, like if it was only the lunchtime that you can come and attend, and even if it's a hybrid version, it makes more sense.
And then maybe the later in the year meeting is like a Zoom meeting, you know?
It could be, because
little more of a
you still
check-in.
have to check in,
Yeah,
and then the visit to a link, I think it makes more sense, because they also give us updates. And this is when they also, if they have a bill that they need maybe us to help them and go and testify, it makes sense. So I think that everything makes more sense if we move it around October, November, yes. No, November, I think that this is the right time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great idea.
So that's for Monday.
Yeah.
Can I just want to thank the two of you for working on that, our students, and then also Nova and Michelle for all of the scheduling that goes into a day like that, both from the staff and the students to our legislators and their different schedules. So I know a lot went into that day, but I'm glad the impact was there, because that's what's most important.
Yeah, thank you very much. I agree, for both of you, for all of you, yes. I know it was a lot of work, so, and me asking if you had dates, so anyway. So, besides that, we have been meeting with, our partner districts around, to, host a town hall like last year. So this date is set up for January 7 at 7 p.m. from 7 to 9 in Newport High School, that is in Victoria. And this year, last year we were 5 districts that were hosting this. This year, we're 10 districts hosting this. So we have, and it's going to be a mix between educating the community on how the typical model looks like, and also the legislators, because some of them are new. And then our shared ask and needs, we differ in some of those, and those will not be taught then. It was only the ones that we share in common, the 10 of us. So put it in your agenda, January 7th, it's a Wednesday, so it's just right after the winter break. And I think that's it for leisure stuff. That's a lot anyway.
Okay. Board report, I have nothing.
I similarly have not much. I attended a number of events, but more like as a parent or a citizen, including, I just want to highlight one that I attended, as Jody Lee person, but it has to do, it was like a prayer and vigil. Help me, Stephanie. It was like a program of like prayer and reflection. It was an interfaith program that was held at the Congregational Church a couple Sundays ago, and I found it particularly moving to see a fairly large turnout of members of our community and some students there to sort of reflect on the state of our community and how we can offer prayer or a positive thought toward moving forward or finding some pain and solace from any pain that people are feeling. And I just want to thank our faith leaders on the island for organizing that, including our own beloved Stephanie, because it was, I thought, a very powerful evening. And I thought very healing for the members of the community that I saw, and I saw several members of our school community there and also just regular citizens.
Yeah, I guess parting remarks. Good evening to the tireless staff, educators, and administrators of our district, and most importantly, the students, families, and community members who are the lifeblood of our schools. Thank you. Tonight marks the final official meeting of my term, and is a moment of both reflection and resolve. Serving as an elected member of the school board has been one of the greatest honors and responsibilities of my life, which at times has compelled me to speak with an independent voice so that the hard, necessary questions are asked to ensure that unity does not interfere with duty and what's best for our students. I am deeply thankful to the voters for entrusting me with safeguarding the future of our children. Your trust, your input, and your support have guided my every decision and action. And I want to express my immense gratitude to everyone who believes that the Mercer Island School District should be as unique as the students who walk through our doors each day, and as special as the landscape that we call home. An island in the middle of a lake, ringed by snow-capped mountains, located in a metropolis that is rapidly remaking the world. Our community is in overwhelming agreement on many fundamental issues, namely, that students are the priority, that each student is unique, each mind its own network of neurons, and that each child is shaped by their own identity, culture, and experiences. We all want to enable our children to lead happy, meaningful, and successful lives. So let there be no doubt, we are all working towards the same goal. The differences and disagreements arise from the best way to realize that common hope. Therefore, I'm incredibly proud of the accomplishments over the past 4 years. We have navigated unprecedented challenges and collaborated to secure meaningful progress that will benefit our students for years to come. First, we recognize that financial stewardship is essential for stability and maintaining a strong curriculum. This begins with transparency and accountability for our own finances rather than blaming outside forces. Consequently, while questions remain, over the past 4 years we have moved from being in the red to the black. This success has required pragmatic advocacy, such as drafting a letter in support of enrollment stabilization in my role as legislative representative immediately following the COVID pandemic, which helped secure over $2 million in funding. This funding facilitated rebuilding the general fund balance and avoiding financial insolvency and oversight. Similarly, when the state legislature threatened to reduce the regionalization rate in 2022, I worked vigorously to preserve over $9 million in funding for our school district. This involved late-night calls with Senator Wellman, a personal meeting with Superintendent Reichdahl, and the parallel adoption of a city council resolution recognizing the importance of regionalization in the post-McCleary funding landscape. Second, I am proud of the policy work that we have accomplished. This includes limits on cell phone use, a policy I supported long before its wider acceptance, as well as establishing guidelines for facilities naming and protecting our students from the threat of immigration enforcement raids. I'm also proud of practical policies that I've introduced, such as supporting students through offering the SAT during the school day. As elected officials, it is not just our right, but our responsibility to propose policies that support students and reflect the values of our community. Third, leadership is more than simply champion successes. It sometimes requires hard conversations and decisive actions in the face of intimidation and attempts to keep the public in the dark. This is particularly true in a school district entrusted to protecting children. I am proud that we now appear to be slowly moving in the right direction, where predators are no longer protected under false pretenses, so that sexual discrimination and predation no longer occurs in the shadows and survivors are no longer silenced. Finally, throughout the past 4 years, I've tirelessly advocated for a robust and individualized education for all students. That means ensuring that every student is appropriately and meaningfully challenged and allowed to progress at their own pace and pursue their own passions by providing a tailored education that enables each student to thrive. That path will vary with each student, whether it be through the arts and literature, math and science, on the athletic field, a chessboard, a debate podium, or part of a D&D campaign. Providing an individualized education is more than blindly borrowing empty catchphrases from the national dialogue. It is listening to the unique needs in our community and enabling each student to realize their potential by providing a well-rounded education that is rigorous, relevant, innovative, and individualized. One that enables them to take the next step in their journey upon graduation, wherever that may be. As I step away, I do so with cautious optimism. The work is continuous, and there will always be new challenges and opportunities. I hope the incoming board will continue to uphold the commitment to excellence, equity, and empathy that I work to uphold and which defines this community. Our mission, to empower every student to reach their full potential, remains the guiding star. I remain steadfast in my conviction that together, Mercer Island can become a beacon that shows what's possible in public education. My final thanks goes to my family, who supported me and understood the particular demands of this office and the personal toll it exacted. And finally, thank you once more to this entire community and your grace. At times, I know my passion and my frustration was evident, and I apologize for that, particularly when my emotions masked my message. While my role as an elected official concludes tonight, my commitment as a parent, neighbor, and advocate for our schools and our community does not. I look forward to continuing to contribute to our district's success from a different seat in the audience. It has been an immense privilege. Thank you, good night, and Godspeed.
That's a hard act.
No, I have something that I want to say, share that I did, but first I want to acknowledge what you're saying, and I also want to say for both of you, thank you for your service. I know it's not easy, and I know that toll that it takes and the toll it takes in the family, so thank you for your service. That's pretty much, I know what it is. So, so for the things that I have done, I had a Superintendent Equity Advisory Council, and we went to a visit. Fred, can you help me? I forgot the name of that team that we went to see the flag.
For the SEAC?
Yes.
We went to see our flag football team for our, you put me on the spot. Unified sports.
Thank you. I have unified, but I didn't know the name completely. Thank you. Yes, for unified sports.
Coached by Jennifer Blazer and.
Yes. Yeah. So it was fun, and I my understanding is that the district is looking for ways of how unified sports can be expanded. So there's different opportunities for our students to participate in physical activities. So it was fun to go and watch that. Then we had our first student safety well-being meeting on November 4th. We were just being formed, so we had it. And I had a West Merced PAC meeting. So yeah, they're just sharing a little bit of the report that we will see in January related to their annual report and their plan. And last night I went to the Mean Girls rehearsal play, and because I was the guinea pig to see the teleprompt. So my son was managing the teleprompt in Spanish, and I was the one who was giving feedback in terms of how it looked from a second language perspective, having the subtitles. It was fun, and I think that tonight there's one with subtitles in Spanish, and I think Saturday the request for Mandarin is there, so they're gonna have that. So I thought that it was fun to actually have that experience to see that. So go tonight. I already saw it. Well, not tonight. Maybe it's too late. Is it Friday or Saturday? I already saw it, so we had that plus. So that's it.
Students wanting to get there.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. But more opportunities. So I'll mention it because you guys didn't as parents, but I'm not a parent there. I did, some of us went to the Band Together auction, band yearly event, raising money for their London trip and the band booster program. A ton of hard work, some great items up for auction, and some very generous people. Just, it's just kind of one of these subcultures of Mercer Island, and has been for a long, long time in terms of the band family. And so it was a really fun event to be able to go to. I just want to express gratitude for our PTA leaders and Fred and Nick and Aaron for participating in the webinar. I think it was really, I know how much work the PTA members spent collecting questions from the community, going through them, making sure that it was a good cross section. And I just hope that everyone recognizes you have to start somewhere, and rather than criticize on what wasn't answered, let's, things one question at a time is all we can do. And so thank you. I know that those types of things are challenging, balancing all of the different things, but I know the community is grateful for it. I'm grateful for it, and also hearing from our students, and I'm very grateful that the staff, high school staff especially, had the opportunity to meet and have some collective time together in order to figure out ways to move forward. Moving forward, that, I often say it's not what happened, it's what do you do as a result of it, and that's what we can control. And from what I'm seeing, it's making me really proud, because I think that the steps are meaningful, and I think that there's a lot of them. So thank you for everyone who's doing that. I attended the PTA council meeting yesterday, where Fred actually did a little bit of a longer presentation than what he gave us today. It felt a little bit longer, I don't know. I think there might have been a few more slides. Maybe it was exactly the same, and I'm just making that up. But it's never exactly the same. But I think that the PTA council with our leaders is very, very open and interested and invested to see how the district responds and how the community responds and how we can move forward together. So that was the primary information at the meeting. There is a Parent Edge event coming up
December 8th.
December 8th on suicide prevention, right? Or that one.
Oh, sorry, the one on December 8th is on.
That's the one I meant.
Yeah, that's from moving from stranger danger to the second part of it is basically, you know, we can use catchphrases, but we really need to do some deep learning for our parents around looking for grooming and appropriate boundaries. And that is the 8th with KSARC and YFS and Parent Edge.
Yes.
And it'll be at the community center.
Okay, so Parent Edge is providing them hopefully, well, that, and so parent education as well, which I know there's been a lot of requests for. So I have started working on things that I want to say, but I am saving them for the next meeting. So I will speak more then, and that's it for me.
Thank you. Before we close out this meeting, Erin, can you just confirm that it was okay for Jody to like change her vote? Because I just Googled on Robert's Rules of Order and they were saying that you can only change your vote if you were part of the
I'm
winning
like
side.
literally okay.
But yeah, but like I just don't wanna like close out the meeting and have been done wrong. They said that you have to be, you can only change your vote if you were part of this, the winning side.
Can I rescind my
Can she
request to change?
rescind her request? It just, you have to follow a certain procedure, but you're not able to do it unless you. It doesn't matter in terms of the outcome, so.
Yeah, I don't think it adjusts the outcome, and I'm not, I would have to do some research.
Yeah,
don't research it, just.
So we're just gonna, can everyone thumbs up that it's okay for Jody to undo her change of vote? Thank you. That is everybody wants it. So, okay, thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. End of the era, almost. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor of adjourning this meeting, please say aye. Aye. Board members?
Aye.
Thank you all.